bound to happen.
Live tonight from the Phoenix International Raceway, the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Designs. Going to be going on our penultimate race on the 2014 campaign. 125 laps, 125 miles in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Evan Pizzoco, up in the broadcast booth with Harrison Weinlitz at Harrison. Qualifying just now, coming to a close, our second to last race here on the 2014 campaign. And like it has been all season long, everybody chasing Adam Benefiel. And if anybody else besides that 85 team wants to go to victory lane, they're going to have to hope that something big happens rolling at it tonight.
Yeah, one person who's definitely looking to make something happen is Bobby Terrell, and he's the provisional pole sitter for tonight. And what's going to make this a very interesting race is at Phoenix here, the newer Phoenix, the repaved track, and we're racing here during the day, so these cars don't have too much grip. I took a few laps with this car earlier, and they could be quite unpredictable. So I expect maybe some unpredictability in the car to seep into the race. Maybe we'll see some unpredictability there.
The 15-minute open qualifier has come to a close, so we'll run you down through your full field lineup presented by Inside Sim Racing TV. Pole position going to go to the man that's been chasing in the championship and needs a big win tonight. Coming off of a trip to second place last week, and he was able to beat Benefiel by one position. He needs to continue to do that if he wants any shot at the championship. It's Bobby Terrell going to be starting into number one spot, and outside him on the front row, how about the 8 machine, Cody Gibson, going to be starting in second.
Starting third is our current points leader, Adam Benefiel. 14-point lead going into tonight. Starting fourth, third man in points, Dan Murray.
Dwayne Vincent, coming off of a solid result 1 week ago, is going to be starting in P5. Outside him on the outside of that third row is going to be the number 23. That's J.D. Laird.
Starting seventh will be Midnight Thunder competitor, making his first Asphalt Assault Series start, Doy Woods. Alongside of him, Kyle Tarasca, who we have not seen in a couple of weeks.
Matt Lacrosse, that number 21 machine, still sporting that pink colors on his quick car Chevrolet. He's going to roll off from the inside of row 5. Going to be the number 9 starting position for him. And alongside him, rounding out the top 10 to 12 car, going to be Danny Sanchez.
Another new name will be starting from 11th. That would be Sean Medling. Starting 12th will be the number 4 of Scott Simley.
13th position going to go to the number 38. That's going to be Chad Coleman. Outside him, the number 14 spot going to go to the 48 low Chevrolet. That's Kevin Linden.
Starting 15th will be Ronnie Potts, who's been solid all season long. Going to have some work to do from 15th. Alongside of him, the number 84 of Jimmy North.
Ernest Smith Jr., the number 34 car, will roll on the next position. Going to be P17 for that team. 18th place is going to be Doug Manny, the number 51 car.
Sherry Ann Mills will be starting tonight from the 19th position, and rounding out the field will be John Abbott and Chris Serquez.
And again, do not see John on track, so that should give us about 21 cars in the field today, as the pace car already rolling through with this grid now through 3 and 4, and we're going to get set to go racing again under the Phoenix, Arizona sun. The 14 car will be the control car as the pace car now dives down to pit road. Bobby Terrell going to be in control, has the option to go what he wants. He waits 1-2 seconds. Now the green flag flies. We're underway at a first side-by-side battle. Going to be for second. Benefiel going to be the challenger to the bottom.
Yeah, and there's a lot of grip on that bottom. You got to be careful. You see that 85 car right up against the yellow line. You tip those lefts onto the apron, and that could get you loose in a hurry. But as you see, go down the backstretch, cars are going to be cutting down on the flat there all race. There's a track version where there's some cones in place that stop your progress there from going all the way down. But drivers have free reign there on the apron here on the backstretch tonight.
So second and third get a single file out as Adam Benefiel was able to get the upper hand on that battle. Cody Gibson slides back to third. Fourth going to be single file side by side for fifth. However, Dwayne Vincent on the outside has company. J.D. Laird, the number 23 Chevrolet, is on the inside, trying to make up some progress, has a nose-to-nose advantage now down into 3 and 4. You see Vincent obviously having to work that outside lane, going to get a little bit of a run off the corner, and Dwayne's actually going to be able to hold off JD down on that outside lane, which is going to move up Kyle Tarasca, the challenge for P6.
Yeah, and you'll see on the solo laps, these guys are running about as low as they can in the corner, but A little bit of tightness in the center of the corner. That high side gets an advantage there. But as you saw, the 23 J.D. Laird able to clear Tarasca coming through 1 and 2. Just got a much better bite off of that corner, much better run through the center. And so 23 car back to position number 6. Dwayne Vincent up to position number 5 in that Napa car. Already got 1 win on the year, looking for his second. And he's been a player pretty much this entire season long. Meanwhile, up front, Bobby Terrell continues to lead the 85 of Benefield. And one thing to look at tonight, and I haven't seen if these drivers are doing it yet, but a lot of drivers are playing with shifting here, especially in turns 1 and 2. But not sure if they've gotten to that during the race yet, but it's something that could be a definite factor here as we get deeper into this one.
We have some side-by-side deeper back in this pack. The 48 machine in a battle, that's Kevin Linden. He was 14th last time by the stripe. He's able to hold off a little bit of the charge from the 12 Budweiser Chevrolet of the car behind him being Danny Sanchez. So, and now we got trouble. Caution flag, gonna fly. One car's down into the inside wall and trying to get a number on that car, already out to the garage, but under caution quickly after trouble down that back straightaway.
And I believe it was the 01 Aaron Grosskopf. And, inside wall going on the back straightaway, I have to think that it was trouble coming out of turn number 2. These cars can just be kind of wild. Actually, it looks like Grosskopf caught the apron. The number 01, as we're about to see on the replay right here. The number 01 just was on kind of a transition on that dogleg down the backstretch. He only had his left sides on the flat, right sides on the banking. That took the balance away from the car, and around she went into the inside wall. So 1 car incident there for the number 01. Didn't even get much damage on that at all, but he towed it right back to pit road to try to get out of the way, but it brought out the caution nonetheless.
I was going to say, didn't get down into the inside wall, but again, had the left side tires down on the flat part, right side still up on the banking, but he tried to make it through that dog leg, sent him right around, and that'll bring us some of our leaders rather down for some pit stops. Bobby Terrell will stay out, Benefield stays out, Cody Gibson going to be the first car to bring them down pit road. He entered from 3rd. I see Dan Murray down on pit road as well, Dwayne Vincent down there, Matt Lacrosse, Ronnie Pott, Scott Simley, Sean Medlin, and pretty much the secondary half of this lead pack has come down pit road, but the strategy call going to be made from Cody Gibson. Again, he comes in from 3rd. A couple cars staying out. J.D. Laird's going to stay out. Kyle Tarasca staying out as well. Doy Woods, Chad Coleman. Going to be about the 6 or 5 cars that do stay out.
Yeah, Chad Coleman was one of those drivers who didn't get the qualifying run he was looking for. I believe he started this race from the 13th position. And so a bit of a track position call there for the 38. I do think Bobby Terrell's feeling pretty good about staying out at this stage of the game, because those guys that pitted, they're going to have a grip advantage, but they've got a number of cars to pass here. And so the 85 right now looking on the apron, not sure if he's going to come in the second time, and looks as though he will. So that's an interesting call here. Not exactly sure. Maybe he's looking at his fuel mileage and seeing himself barely getting within a window, or maybe he just really meant to come down the first time and missed it. But that's a surprising move for 85 there, pitting the second time by.
Doy Woods is going to follow him down pit road as well. So the number 19 machine, which would have been one of those drivers that staying out would have gained them a significant amount of positions. He comes down pit road and will pull down into his stall that's located just about on the entry of turn number 1. So it is going to obviously be Bobby Terrell still in control of this field. Behind him now is the light still on the pace car. Going to be J.D. Laird after qualifying back in, I want to say, about 6th position. Laird, he did qualify there. He was 3rd fastest in practice. So seeing JD out here for one of the, if not the first time this season, obviously showing some speed in his race car, he's going to be able to get a shot at it and go up to the outside of that front row and take a crack at things. Possibly going to get the one to go this next time by. But again, you said interesting strategy call on the end of Bobby Terrell. And again, he brought Doy Woods with him. Aaron Grosskopf is back there as they run right now. I'm pretty sure he's 3 laps down via that tow that he had to take out of pit road. Benefield is going to be cycled back through the pack behind the 21 machine of Matt Lacrosse. So he'll be about outside the top 15, but the lights have gone off on top of the pace car. So we will go green. Going to be a lap 10 restart here. Again, 125 laps on the board. So this time by, again, still well within a lot of racing left in this one. And again, this racetrack, the newer version of Phoenix that you can pick up on the iRacing service with that open dog leg. And You mentioned, Harrison, the fact that there's a variation to this track where there's some cones that kind of limit how low you can go, but this is the open dog leg, so these guys, if it's their wish, can pretty much go all the way down to that wall if they deem necessary.
Yeah, and I think the fastest way across the backstretch there is a good ways down. It's a good 4 or 5 lanes below that yellow line separating the banking from the flat. But Bobby Terrell here in control of the field. Pace car about to duck off. J.D. Laird, who was outside. 14 picking, choosing when to go. Got some pressure from the 88 of Tarasca behind him. And Terrell waits until just about the green flag comes out. And a huge jump there. Looks like the 23 J.D. Laird's going to tuck in a second, though. Meanwhile, Tarasca throws it into turn number 1, able to clear the 38 of Coleman.
Yeah, that battle single files out rather quickly. Behind them, Scott Simley going to get single file as well. It is Dwayne Vincent on the inside with the advantage of that dog leg. Will slide up in front of Cody Gibson. Gibson going to have to try to recover from that into the corner. He opens up the door. Dan Murray to the bottom. Don't think he's going to be able to make that thing stick at a Ford. No, he does not. Cody Gibson will get clear, and Dan Murray will slide in line just in front of Ronnie Potts, side by side behind them. Again, Kevin Linden side by side, and he was battling with the 73 of Sean Medley, and he's actually going to kind of slide up here, and he's going to try to make a move on Ronnie Potts. They're going to be nose to nose for P9. 48 machine with the advantage of that dog leg. Going to have to work the inside in 3 and 4.
Yeah, that 48 car, I think he's been side by side for this entire night so far. But Ronnie Potts, I think he's 5th in points, and he didn't have a qualifying run that he was looking for. Started 15th on tonight.
The 51 machine hard into the inside wall, down the front straightaway. That's Doug Manning. He has already escaped out and has gotten off the racetrack after he had a self-spin coming out of quarter number 4 right in front of the number 19 machine of Doy Woods right behind him. Manning gets into the inside wall and has already taken that tow back to pit road. He sits in his stall and is going to have to wait a quite substantial amount of time before he's able to get back out on track. So 2 times tonight we've seen some drivers have some issues, get to the inside wall, both of them immediately escaping out, getting off the racetrack, going to pit road. This one not going to bring out a caution as we stay green.
Yeah, that first one brought out a caution pretty quickly, but right there the field got by him relatively quickly, and he was able to get it out of the way very fast. So tough break though for the 51 of Doug Manning, who's currently sitting on pit road. But this is a very finicky combination. These cars, oftentimes you have to underdrive, otherwise the center of the corner can be just extremely tight. The car just wants to skate right out of the track. But otherwise, there's even some throttle control going on here. It seems like the cars have a tendency to spin the tires, get a little bit loose on exit. And the car even, you could get it loose entering turn 1 here. When you do that, sometimes it kind of just keeps the car in the right rear throughout 1 and 2 entirely. And you see that in 3 and 4 a little bit, but not quite as much. 2 very different corners on the opposite ends of the racetrack here. And so we've seen it bite already 2 competitors here this evening.
And Adam Benefield is not wasting time getting back up through the field as the 48 machine lets him know to go low, make that pass. That's Kevin Linden, who was occupying position number 12. Benefield will take that from him, but it was Adam who made it 3 wide, getting around Sean Medley and I think Doy Woods 1 lap ago, using that dog leg all the way to the bottom. 3 wide, completed that pass and was able to get about 3 spots on that lap alone. He's able to get around now. That 48 machine now sets his sights on the number 84 machine of Jimmy North just in front of him. That would be advancing to position 11, and Benefield at the bottom. And not surprising, though, we're seeing this car dominate, mirrored back the pack, obviously, from coming down pit road on that second time around in the caution. But no surprise, Harrison, that we're seeing the number 85 machine be able to pick off these cars that are at the tail end of these lead lap cars quite easily, as he's still side by side with that 84 machine down into 1. He'll now clear Jimmy North in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and right behind him, that leaves the 2 Lowe's cars to battle it out, which I feel like is a trend here. It seems like every week those 2 Lowe's cars just can't get away from each other. Might be a little bit of a sponsor plug, but actually Jimmy North catches the wall a little bit entering turn 3, but able to use some momentum on the outside of the 48 of Linden, and so those 2 drivers remain side by side. But Adam Benefield, and this is a situation that could have gone really badly for him, starting from the back, puts him in a very vulnerable position. If anything happens, there's a lot of room on this racetrack to go, but sometimes you're just trapped. Sometimes an accident breaks out right in front of you. You don't have many options. You're just in the middle of a huge pack. A lot of times it feels like the middle of the pack tends to race a lot harder than the guys up front at this stage of the race, because there's a lot less patience going on in the back and people are trying to get somewhere. But Adam Benefield, it's mostly single file down in front of him now, and he's safely in about the 11th position at this point, and so it's looking a lot better for him now, and he's got about 14 points to work with here in that championship battle.
Well, it's a battle of the low Chevrolets because Jimmy North, Kevin Linden going at it. Going to be 3 wide. Matt Lacrosse in the middle. Doy Woods on the bottom. Contact as Jimmy North is the one that tried to back into that one. Matt Lacrosse threw it in there. Caught the left front of Jimmy's machine. He's able to hang on to that one. Now Matt Lacrosse actually going to try to make another run at Doy Woods to the inside. Goes Matt Lacrosse, but again, the 48 and the 84 were battling it out there side by side. Swapped out positions about 3 times a lap prior to this most recent one, and now it is the battle between Matt Lacrosse, the 19 of Doy Woods, who uses the outside, is unable to use the benefit of that apron, but is able to get such a run that he'll have half a car length advantage down to the 3 and 4. Matt Lacrosse has got to drive it in hard, but the 17 machines is able to just get back to the gas pedal, and rather than the 19, and Doy Woods will be able to hang on to that spot for the moment as they continue to battle back for P13.
Yeah, that's a trend that I've definitely noticed here, and it's if you're stuck high, you'd rather be stuck high in 3 and 4 because it seems like the car in the bottom just gets so tight and just can't keep that momentum up. It gives an advantage to the car on the outside. However, coming through 1 and 2, it seems like you want to be on the bottom. It doesn't seem like that high side has quite the advantage just with the way the track geometry is. And so Doy Woods in that 19 car able to get clear of Matt Lacrosse, pull quite a bit of distance on him immediately. Now the 19 has a sight set on the 48 of Kevin Linden, and that will be the battle for 12th.
Battle going on right now for P9. Rodney Potts had it last time by. It's going to be Adam Benefield this time, as that number 85 Roll Speed Dynamic Chevrolet was able to make that pass down the back straightaway using the inside to clear Ronnie Potts. And now Ronnie will slide back to P10. Adams going to move up into the number 9 spot, obviously on the fresh tires after pitting. Still 4.1 seconds back, however, of current race leader that remains Bobby Terrell. Has been able to hang on to and slowly start to extend a little bit of a gap that he has on J.D. Laird. It was 45 hundredths the last time by. Don't count out that 88 machine of Kyle Tarasca either, sitting in third, only 8/10 out of it himself as he rides in third, and then about a second plus back to Dwayne Vincent and company. So top 3 trying to pull away just a little bit.
Yeah, and comparing J.D. Laird's line, this time coming through 1 and 2, he was running in the middle, and Bobby actually able to pull away a little bit there as the 88 sneaks up on the back of that 23 car. But Adam Benefield, with him pitting around lap 7, he's only got about 8 laps that he could go further on fuel, keeping in mind the pace laps and whatnot, taking fuel out of our top 5 right now. But J.D. Laird was able to get into second by staying out here, has not lost that position. All these guys pretty much running where they were on the restart. Chad Coleman still running in 5th, but he's under pressure right now from the number 4 of Scott Simley, and then the number 5 right now is underneath the number 4 of Simley, gets underneath there in the dogleg down the backstretch, and those 2 drivers, top 5 in points, battling it out there through 3 and 4. Looks like Murray gets through 3 and 4 pretty well, though, for that outside momentum. Simley spins the tires on exit, has to bring it back, and that's going to give the 5 a really big advantage here, coming through 1 and 2, but he's got to slow a little bit for Coleman and get the run out of the exit for the corner. Murray is going to take 5th.
And that will slide the number 4 machine of Scott Simley backwards. He now finds himself with the number 8 of Cody Gibson to his interior as we go in 3 and 4 once again. The 8 machine slides up a little bit in the center of the corner. The number 4 Budweiser Ford on that outside lane of Simley, trying to hang on to what's going to be a battle for P7. He will do so, coming off of quarter number 4, and the 8 machine shoves that nose back in there once again and will make it side by side. They're going to go side by side also right in front of him.
Yeah, Murray looking to get another position this time from Coleman, using a lot of that dog leg. Doesn't get as much space on the track as he was hoping for, but through 3 and 4, this has been the trouble spot, but it looks like Dan Murray is getting through the bottom of 3 and 4 better than anyone else I've seen in those side-by-side battles, and right there he shows exactly why, able to clear Coleman. Coleman thinks about the crossover, but I think Coleman realizes that the 5 car's a little bit faster right now, no sense in racing a little bit longer, so they get that battle sorted out. Dan Murray up to the 5th position. Meanwhile, Adam Benefield still in 8th right there, behind Cody Gibson, who's behind Coleman. And I think Benefield right now, his tires are not exactly a big advantage over the guys that he's around, but he still has a lot more racing to do to get back into the top 5. I believe he was running in 3rd when he pitted on that second time around during the caution. And so this is definitely the stage of the run where it becomes tougher to pass, but here's going to be one easy spot for the 85 as the number 8 goes way up the track in turn number 1, and now the 85 looking underneath the 38.
And they're starting to slide back between positions 2 and 3 because J.D. Laird, who was just about 4/10 off last time we checked in, is now nearly 7 back, and Kyle Tarasca's only lost about a tenth. So what that correlates to is the fact that that number 88 machine, the yellow striped Chevrolet, is starting to close in on J.D. Laird and will produce what could soon be a battle for the number 2 position, as it is old Bobby Terrell at the moment. And we talked about, Harrison, what Bobby needs to do at this point in the season if he wants to be able to go away with that championship. Obviously, finishing runner-up 1 season ago, wants that championship badly. He got a second-place result 1 week ago when we were at Charlotte. The only issue for him was it was Adam Benefield who finished 3rd, only 1 spot behind him. Bobby enters tonight 14 points in the negative towards that top spot in the championship standing that is held by now 6th-place runner Adam Benefield, as he's able to continuously pick off spots as he works his way through the field on fresh tires. Terrell, all he can do at this point is run up front, try to lead the most laps, try to take home the checkered flag, and hope that the 85 machine finishes in some sort of spot or has some sort of troubles that would allow Bobby Terrell to try to sneak away with this one in these final 2 races.
Yeah, I'm looking at the battle between 1st and 2nd. It appears that Bobby is sort of bettering the 23 car in consistency. However, when J.D. Laird nails a lap, he's extremely fast. So that 23 might be kind of feeling out the different groups, trying a few things to just try to get a clear advantage over that 14 of Terrell. But it's an interesting battle up here because while they're not side by side and the drivers are running different lines, JD's been running pretty high coming out of turn 2 right there, a little bit too high, got very tight, defends the bottom here while the 88 of Tarasca looks above him, but don't believe Tarasca's going to be able to stay alongside the 23 of Laird there. But the 23 is showing a lot of signs of speed. Meanwhile, compared to Adam Benefield in the back here, Benefield is in a similar boat. When he gets in clear track, he's running extremely fast lap time. Meanwhile, the 23 of J.D. Laird still working alongside the number 88 of Tarasca, doing everything he can to get to the 2nd position. And they're going to be side-by-side entering 3 and 4. So Tarasca way low there, but the outside of 3 and 4 has been pretty good.
I was going to say that 88 machine really used everything that he could there down the back, and they're right on each other's door, race it hard. Laird gets sideways, nearly comes down across the nose of Tarasca, but that aggressive driving is going to be able to hold the number 23 machine of J.D. Laird in the number 2 spot for the moment. Tarasca comes back to him, gives him a shot at a quarter number 2, and now down the back straightaway, still just a couple of feet as that 88 rides on the back bumper of J.D. Laird, now into 3 and 4, a car length. So you have to assume that that 88 machine faster overall in the long run. He does have the advantage of a little bit of draft, a little bit of slipstream via being tucked up right underneath the back bumper of that number 23 machine. But again, this battling is only furthermore allowing Bobby Terrell to grow his lead up at the front of the field after qualifying in the number 1 position. He continues to sit P1 by now about 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, and that battle for 2nd, as aggressive as it was on JD's behalf, it's sort of interesting how drivers approach battles, because oftentimes when someone's coming up on you very quickly, you'll see guys back out early, get the spot, and tuck back in line so they don't lose any more time than they have to. In this scenario, as JD starts pulling, just kind of inching away from 88, except for out of turn number 2 there, the 88 gets a great run. But when JD's able to nail a lap, he's running the fastest times on the track, and so I think he realizes, okay, I need to stop making these few mistakes or these few inconsistencies. If I could just keep nailing it, I could pull away from this guy. And that's exactly what the 23 was thinking. Of course, as you pointed out, you only need to be side by side for just the briefest of moments to give the leader in a clear track just such an advantage, as Bobby was feeling the pressure before, but now that lead is over a second, about 1.3 seconds to that 23.
And Tarasca and Laird are not done yet. And again, you talk about the fact that the 23 machine, when he nails the lap, is the fastest car on track. And one of the tricky things about this oval racing is the fact that sometimes, and in a flat track like Phoenix, is the fact that consistency is really going to dictate your race. You got to be able to hit the same line, make your marks every single lap. Try to get everything you can out of it every single lap. Or, go down to guys like Bobby Terrell, who At times, Harrison may not show the crazy raw speed, but he's just so good on a long run. He's so consistent. He's so smooth. He knows this race car inside and out that it's hard to beat that number 14 team on a long green flag run, and that's why he continues to sit P1 as we approach the 1/3 mark in this race.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that long run strength for a really long time, and a testament to his ability to remain level-headed. He stays cool. He doesn't overthink it, and he tends to run his own race no matter what position he's running or what track we're at. It's been a habit seeing that 14 car just run so well on long runs, and especially very, very late in the going. He seems to take it easy on entry, roll more, just very, very, very smooth, which is exactly what you need. Right now, that 14 car coming up on the 77 of Sherry Ann Mills, who's giving the bottom side. She's way high on the track, giving room. That's going to put her one lap down, currently shown in 19, so still 18 cars on the lead lap. But I tell you what, the next car, the leader will be coming up on the 42 car before long, about 4 seconds ahead of Terrell at the moment.
And that battle for second position has come and gone rather quickly once Kyle Taraska was able to get down on the inside of the 23. JD kind of overdrove quarter number 2 on lap 41, which has allowed that number 88 Chevrolet of Kyle Taraska to get clear, and already about 0.6 of a second is actually Dwayne Vincent, who, want to make a quick point, I've had a solid finish last week, got a P4 result for his effort, starting to see a little bit more vintage Dwayne Vincent out here to number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevy, was able to get that number 3 spot from JD, and JD is going to go right back at him on the bottom.
Yeah, if there's anything I've noticed with the 23 car is he slides right up in front of Vincent. Vincent gives him a tap while trying to cross back over, gets back underneath JD, contact down the back. Vincent goes all the way onto the flat here, side by side for 3 and 4. Now the 23 is going to have the outside, but look at Dwayne, just fires that car down into turn 3 and clears him. A little bit of smoke on the track from an incident a lap ago that did not bring out a caution. Didn't see who was involved in that. But what I was going to say, JD Laird, the 23, it seems like if he struggles, it's usually in turn number 2. His car just looks extremely tight getting through there about half the time. But look at this, the 23 right on the back of the 9. The 9 keeps a lower exit, but the 23 is right there, and they're coming up on lap traffic. They'll be at Sherry Ann Mills in a second there. It'll be interesting to see if one of these guys tries to box in the other and take advantage of the situation.
So we're going to go on board with that 23 of JD Laird. You look up in front of him to Dwayne Vincent, and in about 3 laps, he's gone from 1.4 back in P2 to about 3 seconds back in a number 4 position. And Dwayne Vincent is not somebody you want to rub the wrong way, as fierce a competitor as he is. You saw those guys literally bouncing off each other's doors in the first third of the race for the number 3 position. Dwayne's got it right now. It looked like JD just kind of backed out of it and let him had it. That time in 3 when the 9 was able to just throw it down there to the inside and get clear. But the 23 is not backing off. JD's not going to lay over, roll over, let the number 9 machine walk away with this. They now catch up to the 77. Sherry Ann Mills going to stay high. JD try to make something work, sticks the nose out to the outside lane. Will stay single file behind Dwayne Vincent at a quarter number 2. And crossover again, trying to utilize whatever he can of that apron down that dog leg, get a huge run, get back up to the bumper. Nothing quite yet. Meanwhile, top 2. Taraska in second, Bobby Terrell still your race leader. It's about a 1.3 second gap as they run right now. Adam Benefield has re-entered the top 5, only 3.9 seconds back for the race lead. That was at one point a 6-second differential. So Benefield may be one of the faster cars on track at the moment.
Yeah, Benefield certainly one of the fastest cars at the moment. However, track position not by his side. Should we go the full length of this green flag run until green flag pit stops, he'll be able to stay out about 8 laps longer than everyone around him for the most part. But something to look at for that 88 of Kyle Taraska as he crosses the line again. That lap, he and Terrell were about even on the stopwatch, but last couple laps, that 88's been chasing down Bobby Terrell, just little by little. It appears that the cars have slowed down to running about 29 teens, but Kyle Taraska occasionally getting into the O's, and when he does that, he picks up a 10 just about each and every time. And one of the beautiful things for Taraska right now is he has no pressure behind him. He's got 2 seconds to third, Dwayne Vincent, and Dwayne's feeling the pressure from JD Laird for sure right now, and that can affect how much speed you have in the car, start over driving a little bit. But Taraska has no one to worry about in his mirror, aside from a lap car that he just got by through 1 and 2, so he can focus on hitting his marks and really trying to chase down that leader.
And Kyle's been able to slowly chip away at the lead that Bobby Terrell has established in his Tarasca Stencil Racing Chevrolet in the number 2 position. We quickly mentioned Benefield, Tarasca, and Terrell all running pretty much identical lap times. Vincent and Laird have really fallen off now, about 2/10 a lap. JD's actually dropped back to 5th, as Adam Benefield has been able to take P4 away, and what one would expect to be P3 not too long, as he sits behind Dwayne Vincent. That's about 4 car lengths, now down into 3 and 4. The 85 just really getting a lot of time on quarter entry, and then carrying a lot of speed, a lot of momentum coming off the corner that he's able to again translate into a hard entry into the following corner. That's how he tries to close in on Dwayne Vincent. 4/10 the last time by for the number 3 and the number 4 positions, but again, that 85 machine Benefield continues to knock on the door. Meanwhile, another 10th off of the gap as Tarasca closes it in. 1.1 separate the top 2.
Yeah, Tarasca's with the one with a realistic shot at the leader here. Benefield has been making up quite a bit of ground. JD Laird yielding to him moments ago, as that championship battle certainly closing up a little bit. It's about an 8-point difference between first and fourth when you factor into the bonus points and what's going on in this situation. But only one caution in this one, and we're getting very close to halfway here. 125 laps here at Phoenix tonight. About 27 minutes into this race, Tarasca's really knocking on the door of that lead. He should be there shortly, because another lap, 29.07. Terrell, 29.30. That brings to 9/10 of a second. Meanwhile, the caution is out on the track, which changes everything.
And there's a car around what appears to be in 1 and 2, the number 38 of Chad Coleman, going to be a cell spin for that sharp-looking number 38 Pennzoil Chevrolet. He just got those left side tires down on the apron there, split it around in a 360, kept it going, didn't get in the fence, has some left rear damage, but we do go under a caution flag period, and what you could imagine would be all the leaders going to be coming down this time as that replay of that incident goes live.
Yeah, as you can see, Chad just driving into turn number 1, lefts go onto the apron, and not a whole lot of grip. When you do that, it's a mistake that's hard to bring back, and the car just came right around. Everyone coming down pit road here, don't believe we'll see any 2-tire stops. 4 tires, I think, would be extremely important here for these leaders. Meanwhile, the 42 stays out. That's a lap down car. He's going to be taking the wave around, but pit crews, and this is where they earn their money. Getting off of the pit road first here can be so important.
And as they essentially bump draft each other down pit lane, it is going to be Bobby Terrell that leads him into the stalls at pit road speed of 45 miles an hour. Not sure if this is one of the pit road speeds that has been modified or changed in this most recent iRacing build, but Bobby Terrell does lead us down pit road. He's in his stall, right side tires, left side tires as well, 4 tires and fuel for that stop. And the 88, I think, got him. Kyle Tarasca flying on that outside.
Yeah, 4 tires for everyone. That was a 4-tire stop for Tarasca as he comes out of pit road with authority right there over Bobby Terrell, so that could be huge. Adam Benefield came really close to nabbing that second spot away from Terrell, not able to do so. Dwayne Vincent missed his pit stall just a hair, had to back up about a foot. It was a very small mistake. He didn't lose much time at all making it, but that's 2 spots on the track for him as he falls to 5th from 3rd. Meanwhile, JD Laird comes out in 4th. So we're about halfway through this race here. Tarasca's going to lead for the first time. And what's interesting about Tarasca is, he didn't set the world on fire in practice. He was 11th in practice, but he picked it up a bit in qualifying, got to 8th, and going into this one, wasn't sure that he'd be contending for the win in this one, but I think he's made a statement at this point in the race.
And while we close it on the halfway point here under the caution flag, going to take our first moment to step away and regroup our thoughts as we go to our first commercial break of the night. We'll be right back at Phoenix International Raceway. You're watching the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Designs. Back live, a couple of laps fresh off of a restart. It is still Kyle Tarasca who leads this race. Adam Benefield has completed his charge back up to the field after a little bit of interesting pit strategy on the first caution flag of the race. Now himself back in the number 2 position, and more importantly, back in front of Bobby Terrell, who rides in third. JD Laird gets on board and actually take a look side by side with his number 23 machine right now in P4. Dwayne Vincent in fifth, was just able to get that spot from Dan Murray, but don't count out that 85 of Benefield putting on the pressure for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, and I think Tarasca felt the pressure last time through turn 3, really drove in there, went up the hill. That opened the door for Benefield to try to get the position. They got alongside, but the 88 was able to clear him off of turn number 4. But the 85 looks to be the fastest car on the track right there, and him getting beat out of pit road by Bobby Terrell was probably an advantage because that 85 car got to restart in third, got to second pretty quickly there. It's hard to make that outside of the front row work. And so now the 85 really has his sights set on the 88 of Tarasca, and I don't think Tarasca is going to pull away. And so it's going to be a lot of pressure here until the 85 finds a way around him.
What I think we'll find interesting to see is how these guys really cycled through on a long run. Benefield showed us what even just 5 laps on those tires will make the difference on the long run, and continuing to try to apply the pressure right now on Tarasca. Right to the left rear, does he get it out to the inside? No, 88's going to shut the door for the moment. But Adam Benefield has shown that he's had the speed, he's been able to navigate the traffic, so he showed that the 85 machine can pretty much do whatever he wants at this point in the race. And now that we have crossed the halfway point, he rides in second, and very quickly, while things are relatively calm up at the front of the field, going to give you a full field rundown presented by ISRTV, Derek Spear Designs. It is Kyle Tarasca who rides P1 right now. Benefield in second, Bobby Terrell third, JD Laird in the number 4 spot, Dwayne Vincent sits 5th, Dan Murray in 6th, Cody Gibson 7th, Doy Woods at 8th, Scott Simley in 9th, Ronnie Potts going to round out the top 10.
Right now, Matt Lacrosse, the first driver outside the top 10 in 11th. Right behind him, Kevin Linden in the 48. Danny Sanchez making his first Asphalt Assault Series start there in 13th right now, followed by Jimmy North and Chad Coleman in 15th, who just was the caution moments ago. In 16th is the number 73, Sean Medling. Behind him, the 34, Ernest Smith Jr. Chris Serquez, the number 42, currently shown in 18th. Sherry Ann Mills, the last car running right now, 1 lap down, that number 77 in 19th. Rounding out the field, the number 01 of Aaron Grosskopf and the 51 of Doug Manning, both are off of the track currently.
That leaves us with Sherry Ann, the only car that is still on track that is off the lead lap. So if there were to be a caution flag, she would be the beneficiary of the wave round, would get her lap back and then be able to once again challenge for some lead lap positions. The small gap is starting to form between P2 and P3, Benefield and Terrell. That gap about half a second, as Adam has actually lost a little bit of time to Kyle Tarasca after it looked like it was just a matter of time before that Roll Speed Dynamic Chevrolet completed that pass. Tarasca has kind of picked up the pace here in these last 2 laps, or the 85 has started to slide back just a little bit. Nonetheless, it is 2 car lanes that separate the top 2 in the racetrack right now. Single file, however, pretty much throughout the entire field for the moment. So these guys running relatively calm at this middle stage of the race. I know the first 2 restarts, including the drop of the initial green flag, we saw a lot of double file for about 10 laps before these guys got things sorted out. Right now, everybody minding their P's and Q's and a lot of giving as opposed to taking at this extent in the race, as again just past the halfway point. But everybody calm for the moment. Still 2 tenths between the top 2. Terrell is going to have to keep an eye on that 23 of JD Laird. Fast on those sideways off the corner. 23, that's not the first time we've seen that. Really driving that machine hard.
Yeah, it seems like the only place that we really ever see that 23 falter is the exit of turn number 2, and right there, probably had to get out of the gas a little bit. But when you're on the right rear tire like that, losing speed, it's pretty much just scrubbing speed, and 14 able to pull away. But I think this whole battle up here, especially in the top 5, is a perfect example of what really, how the complexion of a race is. The 23, way loose out of turn number 2, but it really changes how much track position changes the complexion of a race here, because, we saw number 14, Bobby Terrell, in control of this one earlier, and really pulling away from a lot of the guys that he's around. But that it just goes to show how important it is to be able to control those restarts. You can build the buffer zone instantly. Meanwhile, side by side for the lead, Kyle Tarasca on the outside, Adam Benefield working the bottom. this time at 1 and 2, which seems to be the better place to clear someone. 88 just barely there in the 85 of Benefield. Benefield's going to close the door and stop that high side from 3 and 4 from keeping him from taking the lead a second time. So Bobby Terrell creeps up here to the second place car, Kyle Taraska of Benefield. It's going to put him out front, clean air, clean track in front of him, and I think Bobby Terrell knows that he has to get by Taraska pretty quickly here.
So the 85 has gone to the point as Taraska has begun to slide back. The 14 of Terrell now challenges, going to go to the inside and side by side for the number 2 position, and they're going to be nose to nose down in 3 and at a quarter number 4. And Harrison, not sure if you could shed any light on this, but I've heard a couple of the drivers over the radio complaining about some frame rate issues at this track in specific. Sherry Ann Mills has actually had to park her car because she's having some frame issues, some graphics issues. That's just too hard to keep focus and continue racing here at this racetrack. So any reason that you would know? I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would cause this specific racetrack to be giving these drivers issues.
I believe they've done some updates on the track surface shaders and whatnot. It seems like anytime a new build rolls along, that's usually when iRacing likes to throw in some graphical add-ons and whatnot. And another thing too is that this newer track, released not that long ago. Usually the newer tracks have a lot more in them, a lot more substance, and a lot harder on computers. So it's to the enjoyment of people who have a pretty good system to work with here. But also another thing that looks interesting to me, specifically today, that I haven't noticed too much, is the reflections on the cars and the lighting of the cars look a little bit different, possibly having to do with this build, but would have to look through the release notes on that. But the cars definitely look a little bit different to me today here.
So a couple of our drivers have been complaining about that at this point. Again, you can still race there, but the more frame issues you have, it's just harder to drive. It's just hard to explain. You need to really experience it, but the more frames, the better. And some of these drivers have definitely been complaining about having some issues to that point. But it is Benefield up in front, and not surprising to see that, as he has been able to pull about 4/10 over Taraska, another 4 back to Terrell. Terrell still holding off J.D. Laird, who trails only about a car length behind him. And then Dwayne Vincent rounding out the top 5 as they run right now. But Benefield's going to roll him out at quarter number 4. We'll step away from the microphones for a moment, and we'll crank it up. The gap between the top 2 race cars is slowly closing in as Kyle Taraska continues his charge after trying to regain that top spot after losing it to Adam Benefield. Everybody has closed in significantly here. Everybody was about separated by 4/10. It's 3/10, actually pretty evenly throughout the top 4 drivers at this point. Last car on the lead lap update on that situation. It's going to be the number 42 machine of Chris Urcos, the number 42 Havoline Chevrolet. Last car on the lead lap after qualifying in 22nd position. Chris sits right now P17. Now, Sean Medling has taken it behind the wall after riding towards the tail end of the lead lap, had some pretty significant damage on that Papa John's number 73 Chevy Impala, and just looks like he actually dropped connection from the sim while he was riding right behind that number that we were just talking about, the number 42 machine of Cirquez, the number half lead car, and he just straight lost connection at a quarter number 4, disappeared from the sim, has not joined back since. So another one of those tough breaks to fall on the short end of the straw tonight is going to be the number 73 team.
Yeah, that's going to put only 17 cars currently running on the track right now. Meanwhile, Benefield, I think these last couple laps, able to pull a little bit there. That last lap, about a 10th and a half advantage over Taraska, and this lap, 700. So 2 tenths and 2 laps for that 85 cars. He stretches his lead a little bit. And every little bit that Taraska falls off of the 85 and closer to Terrell, you know, it increases your aggression a little bit. And earlier I was talking about how good Bobby Terrell is at keeping his emotions in check and not overdriving his race car and staying calm and level-headed. But it's just one of those things that you fight there when you know your competition is 2 spots ahead of you and you might be getting held up a little bit, or maybe you're just not able to find a way around that second place car. And of course, Bobby Terrell, feeling the pressure from the 23 J.D. Laird, has been seemingly behind him this entire race, right behind him, and so not a whole lot of relaxing for that 14 car right now as he tries to get everything he can. As we see a lot as we get farther into this long run, these drivers really just sliding up the track in 3 and 4 and kind of diamonding the exit here. Just very tight on the center of 3 and 4, and no grip for a lot of these guys.
Been a story of consistency. Who can be more smooth? Because again, all these intervals have been fluctuating quite often throughout this race. Benefield has picked up 2 more tenths on Taraska, so again, kind of fluctuating there. And it was something that we discussed with J.D. Laird earlier on the fact that if he's nailing his laps, he's going to be the fastest car on the racetrack. But if he's not running that perfect lap each time, is what's going to cost him time. JD sits 1 second back right now. Still the number 4 spot. You were talking about the fact that, again, Bobby Terrell is only about a car length behind that 88 machine, only about 3 car lengths now in front of JD Laird, so really can't relax all that much. But Bobby is known as Here Comes Bobby for the fact that he is able to kind of sneak into these races, and not really sneaking into this one by any means after qualifying on the pole position and leading pretty much the better half of the opening portion. We got somebody up on the inside wall right by our leaders. Caution flag to fly. Ernest Smith Jr. around into the inside retaining wall. That one looks like it's going to be a self-spin at a quarter number 4, and that will bring out the caution flag.
Yeah, and he was one of those drivers who was in the battle for the last car in the lead lap, battling for 16th there with the 42, and so we're about to look at the replay here. He was coming through 3 and 4 using a little bit of apron, and by the time he got to the exit, did kind of a pivot. The car just was getting a little bit loose on him, and as he counter-steered, it just hooked on the left rear tire and just spun right around, collecting that 42 of Chris Cirquez, and quite a bit of damage to both of those cars. So those were the 2 that were in danger of going a lap down, and at least one of them did. A 42, though. I believe he's still in the lead lap, but quite a bit of damage to that car.
And now we will prepare ourselves and look forward to what could be the final trips down pit road on the night, as we are just inside the 40 lap to go mark. Benefield tucked up behind a pace car is going to bring him down, this time at a quarter number 4. Do we see anybody pull any sort of crazy strategy and stay out? Right now, looks like all of our leaders coming down pit lane, and everybody going to come down for service. And again, that 85 car leading them down bumper to bumper. Keep an eye on Kyle Taraska. Again, last time he entered pit road in second, he was able to leave in the top spot.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself whether we're going to see anyone go with the 2-tire call here, but we're going to go green with about 35 laps to go, which is quite a bit of a distance at Phoenix. So I'm expecting to see everyone take 4, but don't be surprised if someone rolls the dice here and tries to get track position over left side tires and just tries to hold on for dear life. But I think there's such a grip difference that it appears that one driver who won with 2 tires, Chad Coleman, he's going to inherit the lead with that call, and he was running about 11th or 12th, and he was actually the caution, the previous caution before the most recent. And one of the things there is sometimes when you get put in that box, you get to ride around a little bit, go a little bit easier, knowing, hey, if the caution falls, maybe I could roll the dice, go with no tires, 2 tires. Could be something that he was working on there.
So it is going to be a 2-tire call, and you may also have to look at this as the fact that maybe not necessarily a move for the win, but the fact that it could be a move to just try to advance the position that he was running in. He was sitting 13th at the scoring stripe across the start-finish line on the way down pit road. So now the fact that he has come out in the number 1 spot, Harrison, even if he loses some spots, if he finishes ahead of 13th, I guess you can call it a success. I just don't see him being able to hold off Benefiel. We saw Benefiel pit again for those 4 tires on a 5-lap difference, and we saw that he was able to fly up into a top 5 position on a long green flag run. You were talking about how many laps we have remaining, and in 2 laps, it'll be right on that 35 lap to go mark. I just don't see the 38 machine being able to hold off these guys unless we ride out a pretty substantial amount of yellow flags here to close this race out. But, I mean, Bobby now finds himself back in front of Benefiel. He's going to need to capitalize on this, and Bobby, by all means, has not been having rough races, Harrison, but it's the 1 or 2 bad races or poor results in the earlier portions of the season that are biting him now because, again, he can ride top 3, but if Adam Benefiel is either 1 position behind him or right on his tail every single race, he's not going to make much headway in the championship standings.
Yeah, and certainly as unpredictable as racing can be, anything can certainly happen. It could change the last lap at Homestead, but it's certainly when you're doing everything you can and the driver that you're trying to chase down in the point standings is just that solid and just staying right with you, it can make life pretty difficult. As you point out, that 38 car on the right side tires probably doing it more so for a better finish than more so than thinking that he could probably hold on for the win. That's definitely a pretty good strategy because, you know, he's in control of this restart here. He could get a jump. He could try to hold on to it for a little bit, and the field is just spreading out behind him, so it buys him time to where when he gets passed by a few cars, he might tuck into 5th and run 5th the rest of the way. So he's in control here. The pace car's off.
Pace car off and getting set for what could be our final restart. Chad Coleman on the accelerator. The Pennzoil Chevrolet is gone and cleared by about 2 car lengths in a side-by-side battle for P2. Benefiel to the inside on Bobby Terrell. Terrell, the number 14 Muscle Milk car, has to work the outside lane. Is unable to get a substantial run. Benefiel will go to the bottom. Does he clear the 14? No. Terrell going to use a little bit of a run out of that dog leg to almost pull even. Now Benefiel on the inside trying to get clear. Terrell holds the nose at the right rear quarter panel. Can't hang on anymore. And a crossover at the quarter number 4. Now Terrell to the inside. Benefiel throws the block.
Yeah, Benefiel wants to keep that inside. Now looking underneath the 38 of Chad Coleman with fresher tires, fresher left side, on that 85 car. Probably going to be able to clear Chad. And you saw that 85 just get through the center of 3 and 4 so well underneath Terrell. And Terrell was doing all that he could to stay above him a lap before. But, you know, that's as much grip as you have is just on the beginning of these restarts can really keep that car in the bottom. The 38's really stuck high right now. Terrell's going to tuck back into 2nd. Now the 88's going to look underneath the 14 of Terrell. But Terrell throws the block there. Just trying to retain, but look at Tarasca throw it above the 14 car in 1 and 2, and the caution is out.
Trouble towards the tail end of this pack, down in 1 and 2. Jimmy North around. We see some more smoke. Looks like the number 6 machine may be involved as well. That is Ronnie Potts, and it is going to stem back to Jimmy. He got sideways coming out of 4 and tried to hang on to it and just slid up. Not sure if he was still trying to get a handle on that machine or thought because maybe the speed differential that he would have been able to kind of pull in line, but very strange as he looked fine, and it does appear from his onboard, and again, we don't know what was going on behind the wheel there, but it looks like he just tried to pull down behind the number 6 and just completely misguessed it after being loose. He went down into the inside wall, bounced off of it nose first. That sent Ronnie Potts around pretty hard into the turn 1 wall on the driver's side door of that one, and that'll put us back again quickly under a caution flag. And in that short stint, Chad Coleman going to drop all the way back to about P6.
Yeah, so Chad's got his work cut out for him because now he's going to be restarting in the middle of the pack. And I think with Jimmy North, he was doing so much work out of turn 4 there that as he got it all straightened out, he just took for granted thinking that no one was above him at that point. That 6 car was in the blind spot there as he started turning up, and once he could see the 6, I think it was too late there. But a couple people ducking down pit road here. One of those actually being Chad Coleman, so I think he weighed the different outcomes that could happen there, and I don't think he liked the idea of 2 tires starting in 6th, knowing that he'd probably be stuck on the outside too pretty instantly. So he's going to go and get 4 tires, try to make use of that. But probably didn't like what he felt out of that car with the older left sides.
He'll try to do what Adam Benefield did earlier, and that is the fact that the 2 tires didn't work out for him. So mirroring what the 85 did earlier on, will come down pit road, take 4 tires, it'll cycle him back. It did take Adam Benefield a quite substantial amount of laps, I'd say, to really start knocking off some top spots. He was he made pretty quick work of the guys about 10th position on back, and when you have a race car that strong, 4 tires, even a 5-lap advantage will do you a lot. So we'll see, and definitely need to keep an eye on to see what Chad Coleman can do back here in the pack now with the 4 tires. He'll have just under 30 laps, and maybe closer to about 25 laps to go by the time we get this thing back at a green, as the lights get on the pace car 2 to green. So we will go green on lap number 98 of 125. So going to be interesting to see how many positions Chad can pick up. But again, if he finishes above 13th, which is where he sat when he started this whole cycle of strategy, but I guess you have to call it a win in that regards. We do have 16 cars on the lead lap. Jimmy North, the last of that bunch, with the Jimmy Johnson Foundation machine on number his 84 car. He's the last car on the lead lap. 3 laps down is still Ernest Smith Jr., the 34 Chevrolet, with some pretty heavy back-end damage. Everybody else out of this race, Sean Medley, Sherry Ann Mills, Aaron Grosskopf, Doug Manning, all out of it in our 21 car field. So 4 of them going to be behind the wall at this point. 16 on the lead lap as we start to close in on the 100 lap mark. Not too long here. Lights going to be off for the pace car this next time by at a quarter number 4, and we'll get set for another restart. And not surprisingly, and not for the first time this year, Harrison going to be the 85 out of 14, making up the front row, and they'll be door to door.
Yeah, and certainly with the 85 out front, you could say that this is the most important car to get a good restart. Could be him, but what I'm looking here is Bobby Terrell, because I think this restart is paramount for him, because it can be pretty hard to clear that car in third from the outside of the front row. It's certainly a bit of an advantage to be third in certain scenarios like this, but Bobby Terrell, he needs to get a really good restart, clear that 88 as quickly as possible so that he can set his sights on that 85 car, because any lost time spent battling that 88 of Taraska, who has shown a lot of speed, led some laps here tonight, any time battling him is going to be time taken away from him and trying to get to that 85 car. So this restart's pretty important for that 14. I'm sure he feels the pressure as well. But if there's anyone who can handle pressure, it's him. So it's all about hitting your marks and seeing what he can do here. Meanwhile, Dwayne Vincent going to be restarting from 4th. JD Laird on the inside in 5th. Dan Murray 3rd in points, trying to get some points here tonight. He's in 6th right now.
28 laps to go at a quarter number 4. Benefield, he's gone. Green flag flies. We're underway, and once again, it's going to be a battle for second as the 88 of Kyle Taraska trying to use that inside lane to get the upper hand of Bobby Terrell. He will do so, and he'll be cleared as Bobby pulls some sort of a crossover. Vincent thinks about going to the inside. 14 car shuts the door down that dog leg. Single file with inside the top 5. Top 10 on nearly as now side by side Cody Gibson and Scott Simley. A couple of cars we're hearing have been black flagged. No, 3 wide now. The 12 car stuck in the middle. That's Danny Sanchez. Big winner, and that is going to be Chad Coleman.
Chad Coleman with 4 fresh tires. I was going to say, a lot of times, so as we have a car sideways in front of Chad here, actually, the 5's on the apron. He's going to save it, but a huge check up here. The 4 gets back into the 5. Oh, my Lord, a little bit of warp there from the number 5, and the 5 is getting turned around, going down the backstretch here, and the caution is out.
That was a very strange incident. Kind of hard to call that one, Harrison, because the 5 car started blinking out on us there, had a little bit of connection issues, got sideways, saved it, 4 car hit him, got sideways, and at that point I said he was around because he was. Blinked out, and the replay goes up, came back out, and that was 5 wide, I think, at one point there, down at a quarter number 2. And eventually the 19 machine, well, that machine just appeared out of nowhere. Good job. We need to get it on board on that 4 of Scott Simley, because not only did he get it at the back of him at one point, but again, that machine came sliding down right in front of him and did a masterful piece of driving to be able to get around that one and not make any further contact. And once again, we return to a caution flag period. Top 2 get a shuffle once again. Taraska will be P2, but so far tonight, the number 3 position has shown that it's been pretty much better than that outside the number 2 spot, because 3rd place seems to nearly always be challenging. Here, a couple of these guys think of pit road. First car going to be coming down, the 12 machine of Danny Sanchez.
Danny Sanchez was in some heated battles there, got stuck 3 wide at some point. And with the 38 getting a bunch of spots there at the start there, I believe he restarted 12th with Sanchez heading down pit road. He gets to 8th. He got 3 spots on the track, 1 just now. I was going to say, it could be a lot more fun playing offense than defense, and the 38's got better tires than everyone in front of him now, and he's running 8th. And remember, if he had not pitted, he would have been 6th on those right sides before the most recent yellow. And so really an interesting chain of events going on here is Dan Murray's going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to have about 20 laps to get as many points as he can. And I believe that was also a scenario where a lot of times when someone's having those connection difficulties, the drivers on the track sometimes see it a little bit different than the spectator view. And I think that 5 car was gone for a little bit longer than we saw, as some of the contact was actually cars kind of like driving through him and starting to drive inside of him and just send him to the inside there, with that contact with Doyle Woods being the latest one that set him across. And as you pointed out, really nice driving by Scott Simley. Probably felt like a wreck that just wouldn't end for him.
And interesting to see as Scott Simley actually appears to be taking responsibility for the incident there. So he's going to let race officials know that he deemed himself to be the cause of that incident, even though it appeared pretty clear to us, I would imagine, that it was the 5 machine that was obviously having the significant issues. But Scott Simley putting the C into the driver chat, which typically is assigned to race officials, that he is claiming responsibility for bringing out the caution. So interesting to see that. Not sure if that is exactly what he is communicating. We'll have to see if race control will black flag him. But I mean, appeared pretty evident that it was the number 5 Hemsaw Chevy of Dan Murray who was having a little bit of connection issues to the sim that eventually caused that.
Yeah, what Scott might be thinking about is the really early portions of all that mayhem. Entering turn number 1, Simley was looking underneath, I believe it was Cody Gibson, and both drivers pretty much got into turn 1 kind of hot. Gibson got into the back of the 5 of Murray, as the 4 was making pretty light contact with Gibson, and so it was I guess what is referred to among the sim racing circles as a compound mount. It's just 3 drivers all making contact at the same time. I think Simley felt bad because he made contact with Murray once again after Murray was getting off of the bottom that had him hooked sideways when Murray was making a big save. But Simley is going to be starting back here in about the 15th position on the inside behind Ronnie Potts. Dan Murray a couple of spots ahead of him. So Murray comes out of pit road here actually in 11th, and those guys have fresh tires. They're going to try to just work ahead with him, just make quick work of some of these guys that they're around on the track right now. Meanwhile, Bobby Terrell's going to be restarting this start from 3rd, possibly for the first time tonight. So Terrell's going to try to do a roll reversal here and get by the 88.
So we've seen Chad Coleman work the 4 tires. We'll see if some other guys are able to do it as well. But green flag flies. We're going to go 3 wide. Vincent to the outside. We will. Terrell in the middle. Terrell on the bottom. Tarasca in the middle. And Dwayne Vincent trying to make it 3 wide. He actually backed out of it down into 1. He'll be side by side with J.T. Laird. But all of this is going to allow Adam Benefield to try to check out on this one. But again, it was that number 3 position that was able to get the upper hand, or at least get position on the inside battle for the number 2 spot there, coming off of that restart. Terrell's going to get it. Oh, J.D. Laird on the left rear. He turns the 88. Kyle Tarasca is going to go around into the inside wall. Caution flag flies. And after about 100 and some odd 4 laps of Kyle Tarasca running top 5 just like that, going to go around, and he'll find himself at the tail end of this field with back-end damage on that number 88 machine. Saw that one coming as those 2 cars just started to drift together. Maybe it looked like the 88 machine, Kyle was just trying to maybe pull in line behind the number 14 as him and Terrell had gotten single file out, and J.D. Laird still being side by side with Wayne Vincent was down there, and they kind of fade into each other and could have that 88 machine spinning out. Everybody else went 3 wide to get around that, but nonetheless, back out of caution.
Yeah, that's about exactly how I saw it, coming through 3 and 4 there. Terrell did a great job of getting clear of that 88, and the 88 ducks in right behind the 14, and there they were at corner exit there. So as JD starts coming up, being at the exit of the corner, the 88 was trying to run him really tight, and contact was made, and then contact again as the 88 was was completely sideways in the track there. Could have been pretty bad for a number of competitors, because as the 23 got by the 88 and all the other competitors, they were about 4 wide for a very short second there as the 88 was spun around. And Doyle Woods, Chad Coleman, Matt Lacrosse, Cody Gibson all did a really good job of staying off of each other about as much as they could right there.
And while we work about our third caution here consecutively in the latter stages of this race, we're going to take another quick moment to step away for our final commercial break during the racing action. So we'll come back and we'll be within 20 laps to go. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series on LSRTV. The race to the checkered flag at Phoenix is going to be on the other side.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Back live here at the Phoenix International Raceway, the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Designs. Race 9 of 10 at Phoenix, and Harrison, we're about to settle this thing. Possibly going to be the final restart. It'll be 16 laps to go. Benefield, the control car. Bobby Terrell to the inside on the lead row. Pace car down pit road. Benefield gone, and the trend continues tonight because it is Dwayne Vincent to the inside. He has a nose on Bobby Terrell. He'll make it side by side for P2 and side by side pretty much throughout the pack.
Oh, absolutely. Matt Lacrosse gets into position number 5. Big rebound for that 21 car, who was spending a lot of the evening at about 11, now up to 4th actually. As Dwayne Vincent able to clear Bobby Terrell, get into 2nd. Now this is as high as Dwayne has ran all race, I believe. We've got just 5 cars all in a row.
Oh, we got big trouble. Caution flag gonna fly, a couple cars in it. Scott Simley around. We got another one. The number, I want to say the number 42 car is in this one as well. Caution flag gonna fly once again. And this all started down in 3 and 4. Looks like the 12 car of Danny Sanchez, as the replay goes live right now. Looks like he just got in there too hot, Harrison, and turned that number 4 machine of Scott Simley right around. The 88 of Tarasco is going to get a little bit of damage from that, as well as he plowed into that one too on the outside lane. The 42 machine kind of collected at that one as well. Really had nowhere to go at the tail end of that. And once again, we go back to a quick caution.
Yeah, in the beginning of that wreck right there, you could kind of tell how it's such a false sense of security as you're making your way through 3 and 4. 12 car was doing a good job of holding the low line until it pretty abruptly shoots to the right. And so it's one of those, when you overdrive the car, you sort of have to predict it well ahead of time. You pretty much have to underdrive it in order to make a good run through the center there, 3 and 4. Otherwise, the car just really wants to shoot up there. Not a whole lot of lateral grip coming through the center. So the 12 gets into the side of the number 4, and Simley's got a lot of damage. That car crab walking around the entire track now, and he's going to try to fix all that he can and remain on the lead lap, and if he can, to try to salvage any kind of points that he can, as he is in the points battle. A little bit far out to try to make a run at this title, but he's been up there top 5 in points pretty much all season long. And this definitely puts a damper there. Danny Sanchez apologetic for that wreck.
So he takes responsibility for that one. And again, the late race drama that you would come to expect that a late race caution would bring is the whole caution breed caution scenario, and it is played true to this point because it's going to be about 4 or 5 coming right off of each other back to back to back at least in these later stages. We have 7 total cautions, and again, I think that the one that started these was the 3rd of the night, so we've had about 5 or 4 of those in a row here most recently, and the positions 2 and 3 continue to just swap in between each other, because now it's going to be Vincent on the outside of the front row in second. He was just in the spot that Bobby Terrell was in, who is going to be P3 right now, and I could imagine nothing less than the fact that 14 machine and 9 going to be side by side at it once again when we go back at a 1 off this restart.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're taking turns. Bobby Terrell wants to be the guy to take advantage of that 3rd starting position here on this restart this time. But look at the 21. He could be a bit of a wild card here because he hasn't been in the top 5 for much of this race, but he just shot up there in a hurry. And right now going to be restarting from the 4th position there. And JD Laird from 5th is going to try to do just the same as the 21 car, but that 21 car looking good tonight, especially right now, and this is the time to be looking good. And he's running a car multiple shades of pink there for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think there's nothing more that Matt Lacrosse wants than a win at this point. And so add another car to the mix who hasn't been up there all race long. It'd be interesting to see how he races these other drivers.
So the lights will be extinguished once again on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, and it is going to be the 85 Roll Speed Dynamic Chevrolet of Adam Benefield, looking for win number 4 on this 2014 campaign and start number 9, as he'll be again that top spot. Vincent 2nd. We have Bobby Terrell 4th, Matt Lacrosse 5th, JD Laird in the number 5 spot. So this is going to be a restart with 11 laps to go. I have to mention the fact with no green-white checkers, the fact that if we get a caution with less than 4 to go, maybe even 3, because these cautions have seemed to be pretty quick here. Once you get about to 4 to go, a caution will end this. So limited time left in this race for Green Flag Racing. Going to take another crack at it. The field is all doubled up. They'll get on each other's bumper here in 3 and 4. Pace car gone. Benefield gone almost straight away. And back at it once again. Bobby Terrell trying to get a nose on the inside of Dwayne Vincent. Get the 9 car, throw it in hard and clear him. No, he will not. Going to be door-to-door for 2nd. Single file for P4. And then side-by-side for 5th. J.D. Laird able to hold off Cody Gibson.
Yeah, look at Bobby Terrell up here for 2nd, just trying all that he can to get underneath the 9 of Dwayne Vincent, but not able to do so. That 9 car clears him in 3. 14 gets way tight here, and 21's pretty tight right behind him there. 23 of J.D. Laird looking for a way to get by that 21 of Matt Lacrosse. Meanwhile, the 14 just in front of them looking to get by the 9 of Dwayne Vincent. But all these cars all in a row here, and a little bit of a checkup situation there. The 8 of Cody Gibson swings a little bit wide at the turn number 2, opens the door for the 38 of Chad Coleman, but tucks back in line in front of him.
And side by side behind them, Joy Woods and the number 5 of Dan Murray battling Murray on the inside now through 3 and 4. The 19 machine of Woods is working the outside lane, going to get that run at a quarter number 4. Is it going to be enough to clear? Dan Murray, the 5, is going to have a nose. Does he pull in ladder? Does he throw it in? He will throw it in. These are the ladder stages in this race, so they'll stay door to door for that position. 1 car rolling out of pit road. The number 84, I do believe that is Jimmy North, not in contention. 3 wide as they work around that lap traffic, but up front it is all Adam Benefield, because we're still going at it for 2nd. 14 of Terrell back to the inside onto Wayne Vincent. They were just side by side behind them with Laird and Lacrosse. Laird is able to get around Matt Lacrosse, and Vincent is able to hold off Bobby Terrell for one more shot.
Yeah, Laird back up to P4, clearing that 21 of Lacrosse, and Terrell wants to get by that 9 of Dwayne Vincent as quickly as humanly possible. One, for a point, but also to give him any shot at all that he could have the 85 of Benefield. And you can imagine that battle's going to heat up moments away again. But anytime that they're battling right in front of Laird, that gives Laird the opportunity to join in on the fun. But right now, Dwayne able to put a little bit of distance between him and the 14, and these cars are starting to separate just a little bit. But you see the 21 of Lacrosse really driving into turn number 1, and then you see the trade-off on exit as the 23 just pulls right away.
Still enough time for a late race caution to throw one more curveball into this, but the field now has single file down and a bit of car length separate most of these cars mid-pack. It is 7/10 of a second for Adam Benefield, and it's going to be 6 laps to go. That time by the interval between the top two was shaved off a little bit by Dwayne Vincent. He'll close it into 69 hundredths of a second. Terrell in 4th, Laird into number 4 position. Bobby Terrell was 3rd. And then actually Matt Lacrosse going to be the number 5 spot, side by side behind them. Chad Coleman under attack. Dan Murray going to go to the inside. They'll battle it out for P7.
Yeah, a lot of battling in the middle of the pack here with Murray just working and working on getting by Chad Coleman after clearing Doy Woods. And now Woods looks to be outside of that 5 car. Not quite there down the front stretch, but he could get there in turn 1 entry. Backs out a little bit early for that 5. But it's definitely pretty tough to pass here as the 19 lays a little bit of a bumper to that number 5 of Murray. It just seems like the hardest racing right now is back here in this battle for 7. But meanwhile, Bobby Terrell is inching closer and closer to that number 9 with the 23 of Laird right up on him. So 3-way battle for 2nd position. Meanwhile, Benefield is loving what he's seeing in his mirror as that lead has grown to about 9/10 of a second to that number 9 of Dwayne Vincent. And so Terrell knows every point matters. Next week is the final race of the season, this little 10-race chase, so to speak. And he wants one more point. He wants every point in front of him, but at the very least, he wants to get by that 9 car.
Yeah, this whole season only being 10 races is essentially a 2013 chase where you really can't afford a lot of off nights. We were on each other's door for P9. That's going to settle itself out as Doy Woods is able to get the spot over Ronnie Potts. More battling. Cody Gibson to the inside. He's trying to get the number 5 spot away from Matt Lacrosse. They will be side by side. Coming off of quarter number 2 down the back straightaway. Now the 48 machine going to go to the inside once again. Actually, the 38 of Chad Coleman to the inside and is able to hold off an attack from Dan Murray. So still a lot of battling throughout this mid portion of the pack. Oh, hard in the wall is J.D. Laird. Nailed it out of 4.
Yeah, that's going to take him out of this battle unless there's some hard racing there. But JD was just trying to get everything that he could out of that car and started to yaw out coming out of turn number 4, and it just went right up to the wall as he corrected it. He needed more racetrack for that thing and did not have it, to say the least. Meanwhile, Benefield's lead on the field here, about 7/10 of a second. Terrell doing everything that he can as they're coming here to the white flag. No real pressure behind Benefield. He can afford just an okay lap here. But I think Terrell's going to try everything that he can to get underneath that 9 car here in turn 3.
So they are bumper to bumper for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Laird has dropped off after catching the fence. Vincent has about 3 car lengths into the final corners, but the story is Adam Benefield enters tonight as the championship leader. He's going to pick up race win number 4 off of quarter number 4. The Derek Spear Designs 125, race 9 at Phoenix. Adam Benefield of Victory Lane.
Yeah, what a performance. Came from the back of the pack early on with a pit call that it seemed questionable at the time. He methodically worked his way through the field on a long run, then another very long run to work with, and eventually a lot of cautions to work with, a lot of chances for people to take advantage of that, but nobody did. That 85 car, he's the points leader for a reason. He's going to extend it tonight.
Benefield gets the job done, and again, going to pick up race win number 4 and his 8th top 5 in 9 starts. And the championship is going to be all but his. Still mathematically with a shot at it tonight is going to be Bobby Terrell, but he'll need nothing short of a miracle as Benefield going to burn him down here on the front straightaway. We'll step away for the final time as Benefield, tonight your race winner from Phoenix. Post-race show going to be coming up. We will talk to our podium finishers and get you set for the season finale in 1 week's time. So post-race show coming up on the other side on LSRTV. Back live at the Phoenix International Raceway, where tonight's race number 9 of 10 on the 2014 Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series campaign, has come to a close, sees yet another trip to victory lane for Adam Benefiel and the number 85 team. But before we get a chance to talk to them down on pit road with our third place finisher, Harrison, you've caught up with the man that needed some sort of win or some sort of point advantage on Benefiel tonight. It's going to be a third place result for Bobby Terrell.
Yeah, Bobby came out of the gate swinging, winning the pole, leading a lot of early laps, and then it seemed like the second half of the race was just filled with loads of just battling other cars for position, mostly for second. And Bobby, run us through your race from your vantage point.
Well, I mean, like good qualifying run. I knew track position was going to be very crucial, and I just tried to stay out of trouble, out front and just running my laps. I knew Kyle was matching me, but I was trying to save a little bit. I knew what I could run on the long run. I felt like I had a good long run car, and then the caution came out, and my famous pit stop gave me a 13.6 or 9 or something very slow, and then like I said, it just put me back. Bad track position. I just was riding, I just trying to save some stuff. And of course we had cautions. And then that last pit stop, I said, this has got to be the money stop. Hopefully I'll get it. And I got it. The problem is what really messed my race up was Chad staying out, taking 2 tires. That was it. I never could get the track position back. So that pretty much messed my race up.
And this Phoenix track that we ran tonight, the repaved version, that dogleg that you could cut all the way through, it seemed like a pretty finicky racetrack. Like there were multiple ways to lose grip, whether off the corner, especially turn 2, or it just seemed like it lost all lateral grip in the center of 3 and 4. Did you find it to be pretty finicky, pretty hard to drive?
Yeah, I mean it was. You had to be real precise, and that's why. And it was really worse when you got behind somebody. That's why. Like when I knew if I didn't get the track position, get out front and get that clean air, that I knew I could, I figured I could pull away, and especially doing the quick runs at the end, and then there I was hoping it would go long green, and and they would fall off because I fell off before everybody except Kyle, and it was really like I said, line sensitive, very line sensitive.
Yeah, and looking at the point standings, unofficially, I believe it's going to be about 19 points. So obviously, it's going to be a tough hill to climb, but certainly not impossible. And we've seen this season a lot of things can happen. Anything can really happen. So I imagine next week it's pretty much a go for broke mentality.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was doing tonight. I mean I knew I had to win. I felt like I had the car to win. Just I needed that track position and I didn't get it.
Yeah, definitely, and it's still a solid top 5 run. No, it's not what you wanted, but any shout outs you'd like to make? Who would you like to thank?
Of course, Muscle Milk, and then Inside Sim Racing. RSR for putting this on. LSRTV, Derek Spear Designs, and you guys up in the booth. We couldn't do it without y'all. Laura running the cameras and y'all doing the commentating, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate that. And it's tonight's third place finisher, Bobby Terrell, and I believe Evan has caught up with our second place finisher this evening.
We've caught up with Dwayne Vincent down on pit road. Dwayne, you're going to be able to muscle away what's going to be a P2 result here tonight, but walk us through entering tonight's race. Again, you qualified in P5. We saw a lot of shuffling there in those closing stages between you and Bobby for P2 and P3. We also saw a lot of hard battling between you and JD throughout the race. Walk us through what you had to do tonight to be able to walk away with the top 2 finish.
That's the hardest I ever drove in my life, I think, man. Early on, JD, man, he was racing really hard on lap 5 like it was lap 125. But, we did what we had to do, got a little damage out of it. But, towards the end there, it took all I had to hold Bobby off. He's so fast here. And I was still kind of shocked I was up in second anyways because I wasn't really that good. But the cautions kind of helped me because I wasn't that great on the long run. So towards the end there with all the caution, that helped me out.
Obviously missing one start in this season, so not really being able to challenge for that championship as I'm sure you would have liked to, but still possibly, a top 5 could be in reach here. You're sitting on 1 win on the season. What is it going to take for you and the team to be able to get one more win here in 1 week's time to close out the season in victory lane?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Homestead's it's hard to break away. It's a lot more pack racing than what people think. So patience and practice. That's what it's going to take, man.
Well, another solid finish coming off of what I believe was a 4th place result last week. P2 tonight. Sponsors, shout out to everybody. Dwayne, who makes it happen for you and the crew?
I want to say thanks to Ronnie Potts, my teammate there, and all you guys at LSRTV and everybody at Real Sim. And thank y'all for letting us have all this fun. We enjoy it.
All right, once again, congrats to Wayne on the top 2, and we'll be keeping an eye for you and that number 9 Napa Chevy team up front here in 1 week's time.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
All right, well, that is Dwayne Vincent. Once again, another top 5 result for him. He'll walk away P2, but it is for the 4th time this season, Harrison, victory lane with Adam Benefiel.
Yeah, 4th time out of 9 races so far this season, and Adam, early on in the race, saw you go for tires about 7 or 8 laps in, and really had to come through the field, and certainly looked like a vulnerable position to be in. But just talk about your race and working through the pack like that.
Yeah, I think we started 3rd, and tell you the honest truth, new configuration, man. I didn't know how to get around this place. I was hating this racetrack. I still kind of do. But I took tires. I figured I'd go out there and try to learn, get a line, and I figured if I could come up through the pack, if I found a line, then I could run with Bobby. And ended up hitting on something, was rolling through there pretty good, and just got up to the front, and it seemed like every time we made a pit stop under yellow, it played out in my favor. And I got down on the inside and was able to get the lead. And then there at the end, the cautions just kept, falling, and I was able to get good jumps on the restart. And then my buddy Dwayne, which, by the way, congrats to Dwayne for getting his pro. He's going to be a great pro driver. But he was able to hold off Bobby and put a little bit extra points on Bobby tonight.
Yeah, and you talked about learning the new Phoenix configuration. It seemed like everyone was having some difficulty just keeping the grip in the car. What did you find most difficult about the new configuration?
3 and 4 was pretty tough. You had to go in there and you had to hit it right, and then it seemed like on new tires you had to let it slide higher so it'll rotate. And then when you were on old tires, you wasn't letting it slide up the racetrack as much, which is crazy. It seems like it's backwards, but that, and that freaking dog leg, I can't stand that dog leg. I mean, we're not racing rallycross. We don't have shortcuts in NASCAR, but it was just a tough track, man. I mean, I'm glad we're done with it.
Yeah, and came into tonight with a 4-point lead, so I'd have to imagine mission accomplished and increasing. It's going to be about a 19 or 20-point lead heading into Homestead. And so with about that much of a cushion, what are the emotions like? Like, how do you feel heading into the final race?
Good, man. Miami is absolutely my favorite racetrack on this sim. I feel great. I got a bunch of guys backing me, some great guys. They backed me all season. Cup side and this side, Dan Murray, Jason Swan, Jonathan Cadell, Cody Gibson, Danny Sanchez, all those guys over there, man, at SHR, they've really helped me out and, had my back. And Dwayne Vincent, even though he's not a part of that team, he's had my back. He's my boy.
Yeah, and you just mentioned the guy at Steel Horse Racing, and tell you, fourth win in 9 starts, incredibly impressive. Any other shout-outs you'd like to make?
Just the roll speed dynamics and, those guys, and my wife for letting me sit back here and do this, and, just everybody that's helped me out along the way. That's
tonight's winner. He's got a 19 or 20-point lead heading into Homestead, and certainly is going to make it pretty interesting for that final race, just to see, we know Bobby Terrell's got to go for broke, and just to see how much he does to try to make it happen.
And that's where all eyes turn to. It's going to be the Homestead Miami Speedway, where in 1 week's time, we are going to crown our Asphalt Assault Series champion. And unlike last season where it was down to just points, and that situation could still come up here, but it is a dominating and a commanding lead, one of the biggest leads that actually he's seen all season for Adam Benefiel, as he'll roll into there, as you said, approximately 19 or 20 points. Don't have the official updated standings as of this moment, but somewhere in that range is going to be the gap that he's going to have back, and it's going to be definitely an uphill battle for Terrell. And he's had solid runs, but again, it comes back to the one-off race and the fact that, as you said, this season is essentially a 10-race chase. The fact that you really can't use up a lot of mulligans, and despite back-to-back top fives for Terrell, still not enough, and Benefiel continues to put points on him, and that race is going to determine this all. And I mean, we got to look forward to it. You have to look at the standpoint from Adam Benefiel as well. And referring real quick to the Cup side of things here with RSR, was actually eliminated from the championship last night at Talladega after having a real solid season. So he's going for broke here in this series, and it would definitely love to walk away with that B-Car championship.
Yeah, certainly it's a tough pill to swallow with the elimination going on the Cup side, and it certainly would be a little consolation to wrap this deal up, which, as you can hear in his voice, he's feeling pretty confident. He's got a nice cushion with that 19-20 points, and he just needs next week to not have anything go wrong. Just keep her on the track.
So the full field rundown for tonight's race: Adam Benefiel, the top spot; Dwayne Vincent in going to be a second spot; Bobby Terrell third; J.D. Laird in fourth; Cody Gibson fifth; Matt Lacrosse sixth place; Chad Coleman in seventh; Dan Murray going to be eighth; Doy Woods ninth; and Ronnie Potts would round out the top 10.
Kevin Linton brought that number 48 home in 11th, followed by Danny Sanchez. We saw get in a late race accident. Kyle Taraska in that accident as well in 13th. 14th was Ernest Smith Jr., 15th Jimmy North, 16th Chris Serquez. 17th was Scott Simley, followed by Sean Medling, Sherry Ann Mills. Rounding out the field, Aaron Grosskopf and Doug Manning.
And that's all she wrote, as the penultimate race is in the books from Phoenix, and a race where we saw Adam Benefiel get cycled back at the back on the opening run of green flag pit stops, was able to charge through the field and hold him off on multiple late race restarts, and he takes home again his fourth checkered flag in 9 races. Can he take home 50% of them and put it in victory lane next week? He's going to have about 19 points, and his eyes will be set on the championship. It all goes down in 1 week's time. Same place, same time on LSRTV. The Asphalt Assault Series Championship presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Designs, going to be for 130 laps at Homestead, Miami. So on behalf of the broadcast you here tonight, everybody at RSR, all the admins, and everybody here at LSRTV, Laura Lawson in the production hauler, Harrison Weilet's up here in the broadcast booth with me. My name is Evan Poselko. Championship, 1 week's time. Adam Benefiel going to be gunning for it. We'll see you then in Homestead.